That's definitely working. That's working. Those are working. If you see me looking over here, it's because I'm watching the video switcher and I'm switching cameras. This is your camera here.
Oh, cool.
And that's my camera just there. Yeah, nice. And then the only other thing I gotta do. I don't think we'll need that, but we might just in case. Alright, that's on. That's on. Yeah, cool.
Welcome to the Audacious Dutchman.
This one. I was pulling the wrong one down. I thought I'd be slick and try and fade that out. Yeah, nice. Welcome. I got a question for you. What's the thing that you find when you're looking through someone's A&L statement, their asset and liability statement, and you're a broker?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anything and you go, really?
That just happened just now with your buttons on your board right there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we got buttons and we've got...
It's cool. Oh.
One of them's a clap.
I don't need that one. Yes, I do. And it happened this week.
Yeah, right.
So when I put together a loan application for someone, right, brokers don't really dig through people's bank statements as much as some brokers and some banks portray. Years ago, shortly after the Banking Royal Commission, the banks got really, really tough on it, and they said everyone needs to go through everyone's bank statements because in a loan application you have to disclose what your living expenses are. And they said a broker or a bank must validate exactly what those living expenses are, and if they're not correct, you must increase them, which a lot of the time impacts borrowing capacity. So it was done. These days, there's some basic analytics tools that happen in the background when you process a loan application that may do some kind of living expenses determination. But the only reason myself as a mortgage broker might actually flick through someone's bank statements is if they say, oh, I've got a car loan or I've got another mortgage or I have any kind of term loan facility to identify what the loan repayment is essentially, because you've got to declare your loan repayments quite accurately. But when it comes to living expenses, as long as it's a reasonable amount of money for yourself and your family, we don't dig too much. But in the essence of the question you asked, I did have a client recently. He sent me a screenshot and he said, Josh, I need your help. I want you to come out and talk to me and my family because we have a spending problem. And he certainly did have a spending problem. He had a little over $800,000 go into his account in the last 12 months and a little over $800,000 go out of his account in the last 12 months. And his top expense, I think, was Afterpay at maybe $80,000 for the year, shortly followed by Uber Eats. So, and look, this is a family of, I think, 4 or 5 kids, so it's a lot. But $800,000 net after tax for the year is a lot to go in and out too. So that wasn't, me trolling through someone's bank statements to identify what they're spending on. That's just a guy that I've already worked with that reached out and said, we need a bit of help. And obviously, the conversations he's having between himself and his family haven't quite done the trick. So he said, call me out. And that's not really the gig of a mortgage broker, but I'll do it because I like him. He's a client and I want to help. But yeah, I did go, geez, mate.
That's a lot of Uber Eats and that's a lot of Afterpay. When I was an agent, we had a deal and I sent them to my broker and they declared $65,000 of handbags as an asset.
Wow.
That's where that was the root of that question. Have you seen anything crazy like that where someone's put down an asset and you're like, whoa, that's like wild?
I had one I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I had a loan application. It said 180,000 UTM.
Okay, what's UTM?
Well, I didn't know. I called the client. I said, what's UTM? He goes, mate. I said, what? He said, under the mattress. And I went, oh. Sure.
That's good. I like that.
I said physical cash. He said,
Yeah.
yeah, some cash, some gold. I went, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
right. Gold.
Yeah.
Do you hear that a lot?
Yeah. I've had quite a few clients that actually have bullion, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's a commodity.
Yeah.
And it's an incredibly valuable commodity at the moment, more so every day, it seems like. And yes, a lot of people own it, and most people prefer to own the physical commodity rather than buying it digitally.
Yeah, right.
Even if it comes with a $15 delivery fee.
So you run a brokerage in Frankston.
Yes.
Yeah, finance broker. You help people get money. What sort of clients do you usually help? Is it more businesses or more homes or?
It's predominantly at the moment first-home buyers or families, either purchasing properties or buying properties to invest in, as well as people who may want to refinance. We get lots of other bits and pieces, things like bridging finance, someone who's taken out a few different loans for different reasons and might need to consolidate it now. Unfortunately, we actually deal with a lot of separations, quite a few at the moment as well. But we deal with business owners too. They probably represent 30 to 40% of the work we do. A lot of the time it's people purchasing properties or premises to operate their business out of, whether it's a real estate agent buying a shop and needs money for a fit out, or someone purchasing a bottle shop and they actually need to borrow some money for grog in a positive way. I don't know if you want to borrow money for grog if you're not selling it. Or trades who need equipment. I had one of my clients who's an arborist out on Friday, and it was actually really rewarding. I got to see the big cherry picker that
Did you write a loan for that?
months. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so he came out and he goes, "Is it cool to see what you helped pay for in a way?" And I went, "Yeah."
Yeah, that's cool.
I said, "Now nip me trees."
Yeah, that's it. No, that's cool. How did you get into that? Have you always done it, like out of school or?
Broking in general or just equipment?
Yeah, like when you left school, what did you do? Did you go straight into banking, or what was the path for you?
Well, I knew that coming out of school, I was not going to go into uni or anything that required an ATAR score. I was incredibly not present in all my years in high school. And I loved business. And I almost find it a cringy word these days, but a path of entrepreneurship in one way or another. And I thought a really good place to learn that is to just go work for a bank, right? They buy and sell money. That's their gig. So I'll go and learn there. And I suppose I did learn there. I think banks now are like major corporations, and the idea that people think that major corporations are full of very silly people that don't really care, don't really care, not too interested in their learning, don't really care what the business does. They turn up for work every day. They get their attendance pay. They get their 4 weeks of leave every year. And that is representative of about 90% of people that work for banks, just like a lot of our other large corporate businesses. But there's 10% of people that are, really switched on, care about what they do, care about the impact they make. Which is good, and I did my best to learn from those people for 3.5 years, and I had a cracking opportunity with my business partner, or now ex-business partner, he's semi-retired, to go into business doing exactly what I did for NAB for 3.5 years, writing loans, but to do it as a brokerage, which was really good because we went from having a flog NABs product all day long, which was sometimes okay and sometimes not okay, to being able to deal with any bank, which is good. Creates good competition, which is great for people borrowing money. If the banks didn't have brokers or people that generate competition, they would not go, yeah, no worries, we'll keep the rates low just for you guys.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And so you, going back to running a brokerage in Frankston, so you operate out of the Frankston Business Centre in Frankston. And I'm a close friend with Josh. So we actually sit around a fair bit talking about Frankston and where it's going and some of the changes coming through. I don't know. Do you want to have a bit of a chat about that for a little bit and talk about sort of whether you're impressed or not with where things could go?
I think Frankston's sick.
I think Frankston's sick too.
I love it. I've grown up between the Mornington Peninsula and Frankston, and I've always liked it.
Yeah.
There's two sides to Frankston, right? There's the side that, possibly the real estate agents will tell you about at the moment, which is an absolute reality, and that's that house prices went up close or just over 14% in the last 12 months. One of my real estate agent friends, I asked her for some data and she flicked it through, and 14% throughout 2025, which is nuts. It should not be that. Property generally over the last 20 years has grown at a rate of 4.5% to 5%, 5% at the top end. So for Frankston to do 3 times that in 12 months is ridiculous. And the reason for that is because there genuinely is a lot of development going into Frankston. The new hospital is enormous. I think there's 7 approved quite large and impressive new apartment complexes that have commercial properties for restaurants and the like coming in really desirable areas along the water. And I think people have just woken up to the fact that, people are starting to spend a lot of money in Frankston. All the freeways go straight there. It's not too far from the city, and it's the last really accessible seaside town. And that's reflected in the real estate market. But then there's the other side. I left work today. I went out the front doors and there was a poor gentleman collapsed in the side of the road, and there was a couple of people there. We called an ambo and I helped pick him up, pop him on a stroller, and look, they suggested, like in a lot of cases around the area, it's either alcohol or drugs, and that still happens a lot, and that's what Frankston's been known for a long time. So there's certainly two sides to it. But yeah, financially and from a business perspective, it's growing a lot.
Yeah, I'm seeing it too, and I'm feeling it. And a lot of the conversations I've had with people reflect that as well. Not only just we look at it on like a higher level of flicking through plans, and we get to have some pretty cool conversations with people in planning and council and stuff like that. But even just at the basic level, people saying we moved to the area and it's a nice place to raise a family. And you and I have talked about it's a nice place to run a business. And I'll stop in at your office and we'll go for a walk pretty regularly. It's a nice place to go for a walk. I now take all my calls walking along the Frankston Boardwalk. Anytime I got calls to make, outstanding invoices, quotes, anything like that, AirPods in, I just walk up and down for an hour. It's a really lovely place to live.
Yeah. I like our walks.
Yeah, they're good.
Not only because of the walk, talking to you about
I like our
and the
walks
challenges
too.
we deal with is good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did our little circuit today down to the boardwalk, across and back in, and yeah, it's great. It's it's really good. But I think that the families that say Frankston's a good place to raise a family, Frankston's a good place to live, it's beautiful near the water, like they're part of the reason that it's becoming a better and better place to live every week, month, year too, because it's getting gentrified. Is that the right word?
What's the word?
As more people buy into the area, it gets better and better, because there's a lot less. Over time, what it will result in is a lot less people renting out properties to tenants who are not highly qualified. Versus people who want to live in the area and want to improve their home and want to know their neighbours and, put people's bins out when they're on holidays and things like that. It makes a really big difference to an area. So, no, it's good.
No, it is good. Back to our walks as well. I really like that. I like having someone, because we're both quite young. I'm 28. How old are you? 26?
Yeah, 26.
26. We both run our own businesses, and that has challenges associated with it. How good is it having someone in a really similar spot, similar age, similar life stage, going through similar challenges, to just be able to talk about what's going on?
Well, hats off to you, mate, because you've had your first child. I haven't had that yet, so I'm just worried about running a business, not worried about running.
Business is harder than having a kid, for sure. Way harder. Way harder. They don't even compare.
I feel like maybe the key difference is you're doing it without sleep, whereas I get to do it with sleep.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But it's great, mate. Like it's very good, because every business is different. Even two broking firms are totally different. Two gardening businesses are probably totally different. But there's commonality in the things that we all share in business, and it could be
customer frustrations, lead ingress frustrations, not so much invoicing for you because you're paid by the banks.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's other similar, payroll issues and...
The comparable challenge would probably be getting a loan approved.
Yep.
Kind of. The benefit is that if I know something will be approved, I know it'll be approved. But I tell you what, the banks can ask some silly questions of people or misinterpret things. And with tight timeframes, sometimes it can really affect you.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the massive benefits I have in broking, and the reason it's become an extremely saturated market, is because for the most part I don't have to invoice. Sometimes there's specific circumstances where I do, but for the most part I don't need to invoice. And it's created an environment where a lot of people thought, gee, what's the hardest part of running a business? Sometimes staff, sometimes chasing money. Maybe they're the two things you hear. And I think a lot of people get into it for that reason, but then probably don't understand the financial complexities, not just of the advice you give, but how to implement it. There's a lot of knowledge in the implementation.
100%. Would you, this is a pretty serial packet question, but I actually want to know, would you go back if you had your time again and start your business as a young guy, or would you try and watch someone else run a business first? Would you like to learn business by being someone's PA and then have a crack at it? Or do you reckon just jumping headfirst in is the move? I know that's a bit serial packet. It sounds like something that is a bit basic, but I actually want the answer.
It's just, I don't think it's serial packet at all. I think it's a great question.
What's your hardest challenge?
Getting out of bed in the morning. After that, everything's easy. My dad said that. I told him he's full of it. So it's just a very tailored response because broking, the technical nitty-gritties of it are quite complex, and having someone to learn off for a period of time would be very helpful, because you could be great at sales and very competent at providing people advice around what they should do. But if you struggle with the implementation, you may never get off the ground because other brokers won't help you. It's a reasonably friendly environment, but people aren't going to hold your hand to the degree where they're going to get you up off the ground for nothing. You could pay for a mentorship and maybe jump headfirst into it that way. I think the best advice for myself was jump headfirst into it. But that's because I had a grounding from working at NAB around the complexities of loan applications and what's involved in actually being able to sell an application to the bank, because that is a very articulate skill, actually selling a loan to a bank. Because you could have the same applicant talk to two brokers, and based on their skill to be able to articulate to the bank why their loan should be approved, you could have two totally different outcomes. If you have a bit of coin behind you and you don't have any massive financial commitments in life and you can go 12 months without income, jump head first. If you don't have that luxury, work for another broker first, and once you're confident in your own ability to produce a decent amount of volume each year in terms of loans written, then you can make the jump. You either have to have skill or money, and I think that drives the decision.
Yeah, I agree. And it's really hard to start a business without a runway as well.
Yeah.
Having some money in the bank.
Even if you've been in another industry and you have a network of people that want to support you, or a reasonable database of clients that might have the need of the business that you're thinking about venturing into, that's a massive advantage. I've just hired Kai, young dude. He's 18 and he's got the right attitude and he's learning quickly, but he has no network. He doesn't have a professional network of people that want to support him as much as they can, and he doesn't have a database, for lack of a better word, of people that he can talk to about potentially borrowing money, or at least speaking to him when they need to. And he knew what he was in for, but it's really hard, really hard So, yeah, you got to be resilient, and you need to put yourself in an environment where you can afford to grind slowly.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, 100%. That's one that people miss as well. They assume it's about getting in and grinding, and they think it's going to happen quickly. It's the grinding slowly.
No, I see a few people online, and they start up these trendy named pages. But some of these pages are called
Fuck, you're an old man.
yeah, I know. Some of these pages are called like Get Rich Slow Club. But that is true. That is true. I think people really overestimate what they can achieve in 3 to 6 months, and severely underestimate what they can achieve in 5 to 10 years.
I agree.
And I need to remind myself of that all the time.
Me too.
Because I constantly do it. I'm like, I'm going to do this month. I'm going to do this. Today, I'm going to go, I want to do this, complete that list that I didn't finish Friday. And, I set myself up for disappointment every time. Not disaster, because, no one's going to spontaneously combust if I don't do that set of tasks. But I drive home thinking, I should have done more today. How could I have achieved more today? Whereas what I did in a day was already probably pretty good.
100%. You're spending a lot of time at the moment. I know this because we've spoken about it, building out systems in your business and setting up all your tech. Why? Why do you care? Is it going to help you do deals better, or?
It will help me do more of what I feel is extremely important. I historically have spent a lot of time speaking with clients, making sure the advice I give is right. And then I've spent a lot of time doing the implementation, which I can do, and I can also train someone to do. And every time I spend an hour or an hour and a half doing admin to get something absolutely right, because it'd affect how I sleep at night if I got it wrong for one of my clients. Like, I really actually give a shit. And if I can build out the right systems and processes where I can help my staff to support our clients through doing the admin, but also involve a level of accountability that's not taxing on my time, then I can do what is really important a lot more of the time, which is speak to clients and workshop how we're going to help them, and then have Kai and Michaela, my two staff, absolutely rip on the admin and make sure that things get done right.
Yep.
And still do the right thing to ensure that the outcomes are exactly what we spoke about up front. So that's why I care. And it's why it's taking a long time, because I want to get it right. I don't want to get it half right and 3, 4, 5, 10, 50 applications down the road, something goes drastically wrong and we cost someone a house deposit. I don't want that to happen. So it needs to be bang on.
Yep.
Straight away. There's other things in business. Everyone, has a negative connotation associated to the attitude close enough's good enough. I think some stuff, if it's close enough, it's good enough. Maybe a Facebook post or a reel that you come up with close enough might be good enough sometimes. But yeah, when it comes to implementing financial structures for clients, it's not.
Yeah, and every industry would be different as well, because, I suppose in gardening, a lot of the time, I don't want to make it sound like we mail it in for our clients, but a lot of the time near enough is good enough. But yeah, you're playing sort of with live ammo.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
It's a bit like surgery. I don't want my surgeon saying near enough's good enough. How about you get it right first time?
Yeah. And it's
But I'd be happy if I went to McDonald's and they were like, near enough's good enough.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, near enough probably is good enough.
Yeah, 1 or 2 pickles isn't gonna make the difference. But look, that being said, right, I think you should give yourself a bit more credit. Like, you run a very professional gardening business. I have other clients that are gardeners, and they're great at what they do, but they don't run a business in a professional fashion like you do. And I know your sales process and how you deal with clients, and you are very articulate with what you'll do on a job. And when you say you'll do it, you'll do it. And if for some reason you or your crew miss something, I know that you go back and do it.
Go and do it. Exactly. Yeah.
So
100%. Probably a good moment, actually, to mention that the show is sponsored for tax reasons by Smart Yards.
yeah,
Do you like that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. That's a good lead in to my next question, which is, have you ever chosen money? Have you ever chosen the relationship over money? Where you see a deal going a certain way. Oh, it's different for you though because you're paid by the bank.
Yeah, it's actually funny because I write loans for all my family, and I joke with them. They're like, "Oh, can you help me with a loan and this and that?" I said, "Yeah, I'll do it for free."
That's fine.
Because I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it any other way. The bank will pay me no matter what. But look, sometimes, right? Like there is scenarios where as a brokers do charge a fee. I tell you what, there's brokers out there that charge consulting fees these days. If you ever talk to a broker and say, "Oh, I'm thinking about investing in my business. I want to get a factory to store all my building supplies," or whatever the case is, and the broker says, "Oh, great, I can put together and lodge an application for you. I have a consulting fee of $1,200. I have that in place to ensure that you're committed to what we're working on." Forget that shit. That's not how it should work. Brokers talk to a lot of clients every single year, and they workshop applications that sometimes don't proceed. I talk to a lot of people, and the nature of the business is that some people aren't in a place financially or for other reasons to proceed with a loan application, which is what's going to generate revenue for me at that point in time. Now, I personally want to stay in touch with those people or put together a plan to help them get where they want to be. Pardon me, I'm not sure that's the most financially effective way to run a broking business. I might make more money if I say, "I'm sorry, I can't help you," and then ring someone else that I might be able to. That would probably generate more revenue, but it's not the point. I'd rather help someone. There's times in my life where it would have been easier for people to just say, "Josh, I'm sorry, I can't help you," and they did, and I think that was really nice, and it helped me feel really good. So to have the opportunity to do that as well is a good thing. But if brokers are charging upfront fees because they have to workshop a deal, they are probably arrogant to their own abilities. But yeah, have I chosen relationship over the clients? Like every day, right? Like 90% of my clients, the bank's going to pay me no matter what, right? But there's a lot of scenarios where, people have been in a tough spot, and the way their loans have been structured is there actually is no commission, like bridging finance, other particular kinds of finance. There is no payment. We've certainly done some freebies over the years for no other reason than people are in a tough spot. But that doesn't need to be professional either. Personally, you can help people out and not need anything back from it.
That's true. That's very true. You guys are devoting a fair amount of time at the moment, Kai specifically, to social media. How's that going? He blew up the other day. He did something that went really, really well.
He had one video that got like 175,000 views or something.
Pretty good.
Well, look, it's attention, but from where? Like if all those views were in the US or anywhere, like what does it matter, right? We can only write loans in Australia. But our leads are not our only intention of the videos we create on social media, right? Like I've really kind of had a few things get under my skin recently in the industry, and we kind of want to attack that a little bit. And what has really frustrated me is I've seen a lot of brokers giving incentive-based advice. And what that is brokers are giving advice that generates higher revenue for them, not specifically what's best for the client. Sometimes it aligns. what's best for the client is conveniently what's going to generate yourself as a broker the highest revenue for that particular scenario. But most of the time, it's not the case. There's a lot of people online that create videos and they have, testimonials and all kinds of things, and they say, we'll help you pay your loan off in 10 years. And they present themselves as having some kind of secret sauce that other people don't have, where it's really quite misleading. And I have a lot of clients, my own clients, contact me all the time and they go, I saw this video on TikTok and the broker said this and they said that. I said, yes, they say that because in that particular example, if you contact them and they look at your loan, the first things they're going to say is, let's refinance your loan. Whether there's a financial advantage of doing so or not, they will probably say, let's refinance your loan. They might do a rough budget with you, but what they've presented in that particular video is completely unrealistic for yourself and your family. And that's why the video they've created is going to generate attention. And it's frustrating. I did 2 videos. This was actually really entertaining for me. There was a broker that sells workshops. So I don't know a lot about the specifics of the workshop. I did a very small amount of research, and they give you a budgeting tool and a loan repayment calculator, and that's just something that I thought was standard. I do it with every client when they take out a loan. I'll show them the amortization of a basic loan term, and if you can make some additional repayments, which generally people when they first buy a property aren't quite ready to do, or if they are, it'll be a very small amount, but over time it might build up, and that does make a large repayment large difference to the amount of interest you pay. But they were selling this workshop for $1,200, and so I did a reaction video to one of these brokers' video. I did my best. I didn't have the video in my video. I didn't want to reveal the identity of my broker. I don't want to go out and just hang shit on other brokers.
Fair enough too.
Ethically, I will use maybe a piece of audio as a prompt or an opportunity to educate people around something, but I don't think I'm not comfortable to just try and out people specifically for things. But I had someone ring me.
Someone will do it to you.
Yeah.
And it'll be a matter of perception, and you'll sit there and you'll go, that's garbage. I don't do it that way.
True. True. That's true. And who knows, that may happen.
Exactly.
But I had someone call me. They said, I actually know who that broker is. I went, oh. And they said, I was going to sign up for his workshop because it seemed like he had some kind of recipe to pay my loan off in 10 years. And I said, if people are on extraordinary incomes, they might be able to. But the reality is most people, when they go and buy a home, especially if they're getting into the market for the first time,
they're maxed out.
Yes, they're borrowing to their capacity. Now, people's capacity with banks is quite reasonable. If someone goes and buys a house and they say, I borrowed the maximum amount to buy my first home, it's far from a disaster. The bank has a 3% rate buffer. They have very reasonable minimum living expenses that they budget for. There's quite a few protections in place for the borrower so they don't stitch themselves up. But they're certainly not going to be in a position where they can make 60% larger repayments from the get-go. And that really is the only way to pay off a loan faster. Like I tell all my clients, you can't invent money. And anyway, I reiterated that to this guy that gave me a call.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's what my gut says too. He was in business. He ran a mechanic shop. And he said, that makes sense. That makes sense. He said, look, thanks, mate. I won't. He goes, I'm obviously not going to do the workshop. And he was on a great interest rate, so we didn't need to refinance. Him and his wife just needed a little bit of help to run through what their expenses were and increase their repayments a little bit. And I suppose that was relationship over revenue, right? Because that was a freebie. And I felt really good about it. It's funny, I actually haven't told anyone aside from my other half, Beck, until now. But if I could do a bit more of that, I'd be stoked.
Yeah, right.
So one video, I suppose, did make an impact on one person,
That's cool.
which was more than I thought it would.
Yeah. It's nice when you have it too. When, like, someone actually approaches you after you make a video and you go, nice. That was worth it. That one.
And I felt so much more rewarded
Yeah.
getting that one call and being able to help this, help this young family out, than 175,000 views on one video, which is
Superfluous. Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually wrote on our whiteboard, views don't equal did well, because sometimes Kai will say, "Gee, that video did well." I said, a lot of views doesn't necessarily mean the right people are watching it. I said, I would much rather some young families in the Frankston community.
Susan from Sycamore Road.
Yep. To learn something that she didn't previously know that made, even a 1% impact on her and her family. Like that's what we'd really like to do more of.
Did I tell you about Funny Guy?
You didn't tell me about Funny Guy.
I ran an ad 6 months ago, and it was a satire. It was selling Weed Away, our subscription weed spraying service. And I sat right there and I said, sign up for Weed Away, our subscription weed spraying service, or do not. I'm not a beggar. Do whatever you want. And that's the ad. And then it just plays out. I'm just sitting there drinking a coffee. And it did really well. Do you like that? Anyway, 6 months later, last week, I'm on a quote. And I rock up to do the quote at the same time as another gardener. And the other gardener goes, "You're the Funny Guy." So, what do you mean? He said, "Seen your ad." I said, "Which one?" And then he literally regurgitates this ad back to me. I haven't seen or thought about it in 6 months. And I went, geez, wild. So it's cool when you see even it just impact one person. And he sat on that for 6 months. I went, heck, that's cool. And I thought, I wonder how many other people have seen that and then see our cars drive around and go, it's the Funny Guys.
Yeah.
Be nice if they called us for gardening.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
I actually think it's quite inspirational. The part that I find inspirational is your impact's unknown. I have old school friends that I bump into at weddings that I can't even remember their names that say, "Oh, I saw your video and it was actually really good. I went and did this." I was like, "What? Really?"
Yeah.
And you just sometimes, especially with social media, when people are like, "What's the feedback?" Views, inquiries, likes, comments, shares. But sometimes you never know the more meaningful, in my opinion, impact that you have. And that's what someone might have gotten out of a video that you might never hear about. Or they might have never shared it, or they might have never commented.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
Have you got anything else you'd like to add? I'm actually out of questions now, believe it or not.
I don't know, but I like your setup.
Thanks. That's the outro music.
That's the outro.
That's the outro music. Yeah. It's a bit loud, isn't it? Yeah, nice.
What's the No, I got one question.
Please.
Advice for you. What do you think? There's a lot of people online that say, "Do this and you'll make it."
Yeah.
That's a very common sales program that people advertise. What do you actually think is the best way for maybe a young person just working a job to get ahead in life?
Oh, I think about this all the time.
I think it's the one thing that everyone would actually
So
like.
theoretically, you don't run your own business. You've got a 9 to 5. Is that's the thing?
You could do both.
What are the rules here? Okay, so I've been thinking about this. To get ahead, I reckon start by writing a budget and stick to the budget. Start saving some money. Don't eat all your food. Just try and save a little bit of money. Doesn't have to shatter the earth. Save $75 a week out of your paycheck. Just start there. then see if you can increase it. Dave Ramsey actually has some really good. Do you know who this guy is?
Love him.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff on this. Yeah.
He's also probably not my biggest advocate.
No, he doesn't like debt.
He says,
He's Mr.
never
No
borrow
Debt."
money, never
Yeah.
borrow money. And
Nah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I tell you what, when you talk about practice what you preach, I had a client one time, they said, Josh, you sell debt, right? I said, "Yeah, I suppose I do. And they said, you got a lot of debt? I said, yep. And I told him just a little bit about my own situation financially. He said, geez, mate, you're high on your own supply. I thought it was great.
That's funny. I like that.
I thought it was great. The reason I asked you the question is you might be interested. This is my first time asking you. Do you want to shoot back to Bayside? I called one of the coordinators there to run something with the kids, like 11 and 12s.
I've already done one.
I did one a couple of years ago too, and Josh Lambert did one a little while ago too, and even Michael Ashcroft, because he's in recruitment, he was interested in doing something too. But it could be 4 faucets where we all just give a small piece of advice to
I'd do that.
people going out, like in business, in recruiting, in trade, and maybe a couple finance tips. But I thought about maybe 3, but I'll probably narrow it to 2 things that aren't taught in school that would be really valuable to young people financially. And you nailed one of them, and the most important one. I'd call it spend less than you earn.
It's not really sexy advice, but I think it's something that I don't think anyone does.
Yeah.
Do you know many people that actually save money? You might. I don't.
Yeah. Look, all my clients are people that want to buy houses, right? And, it's drummed into them from the womb that you need to save a deposit to buy a house. So, yes, the people I deal with save money.
But your friends. My friends don't.
No.
And business people around me that I know don't save money. Just debt. To a degree, I was like that. I've got loans on all my cars. I've completely changed gears. I will not do that again. Yeah, because it just increases your risk and your stress. It's unnecessary.
Yeah.
Unless you have built something where you could really, really service these and then become a no-brainer.
Yeah. Like if your business is successful in the fashion that whatever debt you're looking at taking on is the cost of a small tool, that's okay.
Yeah.
If you need to borrow a lot of money to run your business out of somewhere, that might be okay, provided the debt's structured right and it truly is affordable. People that, borrow for too many cars, leases catch up with people more often than what like a commercial mortgage would, for sure. Even things like cash flow and invoice finance, people that either in procurement or need supply chain funding, so people that provide a physical product and they might need to ship it from overseas, and they say, I've got to buy 500 grand worth of shit to sell it for 900,000 here in Australia and pay a cost of transport. A lot of time those people borrow, large amount of money against the cost of importing it. So they might put down 200,000, borrow 300,000 from the bank, but they'll bring it in and their deal may fall over with their vendor or possibly however they're distributing their product. And then, they're 300 grand in the hole with a bank who wants their money in 6 months' time, because that's generally the terms on invoice finance. So things like that can cause you a bit of grief. But just get good advice and you'll be okay.
Yep.
But, yeah.
No, I'm with you.
All right.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for coming.
Cheers, mate.
Nah, thanks. This has been awesome. If people want to find out a little bit more about you and check out your business, where can they check out your business? What's your URL?
How about I try and be different?
Please.
Call me on 0448 639 691.
Sure.
Say hi.
Done. Hi, Josh. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been awesome. The Audacious Dutchman. First one back in a while with someone new, which is exciting. As always, sponsored by Smart Yards for tax purposes. Cool.
Perfect.
Thank you.